Thanks, Nancy. Republican Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma is on the Senate Intelligence Committee and will be at today's hearing. He's also a member of the Senate Homeland Security Committee. He joins us from Capitol Hill. Senator Lankford, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Senator, you're on the Senate Intelligence Committee. You're going to hear today from representatives of Silicon Valley firms like Facebook and others. What do you think is necessary now to stop what has happened in the past?
So first thing has already happened, actually. That is to be able to acknowledge that the Russians and other individuals are trying to get into our information systems on social media and to try to influence opinions on that. There were false statements that came out. For instance, statements about you could text this number to vote, that you don't have to go in to vote. You can try to text this number. Clearly, that's designed for voter suppression. We had individuals that were trying to be able to stir things up internationally. We want Facebook and Google and Twitter to engage, which they have, and to say, how do they prevent a foreign actor from trying to reach into the American system and deter our own voting system, but also just our normal communication. It's one thing when an American disagrees with another American. It's something entirely different from someone outside who reaches into the United States trying to stir us up.
Have they done enough? These companies?
Well, they are starting to do more. They've hired more staff. They're starting to look at where things are coming from. Obviously, they've shut down some of the obvious things like the buying ads with based on rubles out of Russia, but trying to isolate individual accounts and seeing whether this is a Russian troll farm that's trying to just stir people up. That job is not finished yet. We think it can be, and it's something that they can do. It's something that we should not have to step in and try to oversee a free speech platform. Free speech platform should be its own, but it should also monitor itself.
Do you want to hear from the CEOs on this matter?
I'm fine to be able to hear from their attorneys and their counsels at some point. At some point, obviously, the CEOs are accountable for their company. But at this point, I'm fine to be able to hear from their representatives. They should be bringing the official word from the company. And to me, that's sufficient at this point to be able to help push back and say, what are you doing?
What's your reaction, because you sit on this Intelligence Committee and has its own investigation, to the Mueller indictments that took place yesterday?
So those indictments that have come out starting on Monday, those separate indictments are something that we expected Robert Mueller to do, quite frankly. There are individual questions that are out there, and they need to be addressed.
Can you tell us what there might be in terms of links between Uzbekistan and terrorism?
Yeah, there's been a long-standing connection between terrorism. Obviously, it's faced typically into Russia towards terrorism in that region, but there's also been long-standing relationships between several radical Islamic groups in that region as well. So we're still determining and trying to unwrap all of this in the days ahead. There's still a long way to go to test social media communications, where there's direct communication, or was this inspired. That's still being unwound right now.
When the president says he wants to ratchet up extreme vetting, what do you assume he means?
I assume that he's trying to evaluate family connections or any other kind of terror connections. It's been one of the most difficult areas. You may have an individual that comes in with a clean record, but there's also family connections of terrorism, so you have to be able to evaluate the whole of it. We've seen family members reach out to other family members once they reached Western countries. So I would assume that's what he means, but obviously the White House can get a chance to speak out to that.
Well, do you think extreme vetting is a good idea under these circumstances?
I think extreme vetting's gone on actually for a long time. It's something that even the Obama administration stopped for a season and said we've got to reevaluate how we're doing vetting and going through the process. The process is already about 18 months long. Sometimes it is a process where you discover that we don't know anything, and so it's assumed to be good rather than we know something positive about it. And part of the issue on vetting is, do you try to evaluate, do we know something positive about an individual, know their background, know their family, or do you just say they're not on a terror watch list, so they must be okay? That's the balance you have to run.
Senator, the suspect we know is here with the green card that he won apparently in the lottery system, which is popular amongst Uzbeki. Can you talk about what that means for the U.S. as far as safety going forward in this lottery program?
Yeah, the lottery program has been evaluated for years. This is not something new on it. There are about 50,000 individuals worldwide that just applied to get in the green card lottery. They don't bring any special connection to any special country or family member. They just applied. Now, a lot of the smaller countries or countries that have a more difficult time getting U.S. citizenship love it because they have the opportunity to be able to do that. It's been something we've evaluated for a long time to say we should really have a system that you're coming to the United States with a certain skill that the United States needs rather than just you're one of 50,000 individuals worldwide that won the lottery.
Senator Lankford, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.